Hi everyone! So today's video is the first in a series that I'm calling Back to Basics. And in today's video, I'm going to cover how to find the perfect foundation match. But before I get started, please make sure that you give this video a like and be sure to subscribe to my channel, hitting that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of my content. With lockdown now being eased and social distancing measures remaining in place, you'll find it a very different experience when you go into the shops now. And beauty consultants aren't going to be able to perform the services that they did before. For example, a foundation match. So it means it's going to be down to you to find the perfect foundation. Having worked on counter in the beauty industry for the last 10 years, I know how daunting walking into a beauty hall can be. But with the new social distancing measures in place and consultants now having to wear masks or visors when they're working, I can't help but feel that it's probably going to be even more daunting than it was before. That's why I thought that this was quite a valuable video to make, to give people the tools and the confidence to be able to go into that beauty hall and pick out the right foundation for them. When finding your perfect foundation match, there's 3 things that you need to consider. 1 being your coverage, 2 your formula, and 3 your shade. So I'm going to, in this video, take you through all 3 of these options with a demo at the end on finding the perfect shade. The beauty of the first 2 things, your coverage and your formula, is that you can do your research and you can have already picked this out before you've even stepped foot in the beauty hall. So let's start with coverage. Do you want a full, medium or light coverage foundation? So what I mean by this is if you like your skin to look like skin, you'll probably want a light coverage foundation. If you have some unevenness and you want a little bit more coverage, but you still want it to look nice and natural, you'll want to go for a medium coverage foundation. And if you like the full shebang and you want to have that fully made up look, you'll want to go for a full coverage foundation. There's no right or wrong to this. It is down to personal preference. Formula is the next part that you want to consider. So do you want a matte finish foundation? Do you want a dewy finish foundation? Or do you want something that's in between? With a matte foundation, it tends to lend itself better to an oily skin. And with a dewy foundation, it tends to lend itself better to a drier skin. But that being said, it is personal preference and you can make either formula work for you. One thing that's really important to consider when you're thinking about the formula of foundation is the skincare that you're using alongside it. You want to make sure that your skincare complements it. If I can give an example, is if you're using a matte foundation and you're using a mattifying moisturizer, a mattifying primer, and potentially even a powder over the top, you need to consider that that might be a little bit too drying for your skin. And if you're finding that you're getting a patchiness generally around this area or around the nose, it's probably because you're using too drier formulas in your skincare and you need to just pump up the moisture a little bit more. In turn as well, if you're using a dewy foundation, if your moisturizer is too rich, it's going to cause that foundation to slip and slide everywhere. So you can still use your rich moisturizer in the evening, but in the daytime when you're wearing your foundation, just take that moisturizer down a little bit so it's not quite so rich and it just gives your foundation a chance to not slip and slide. So I'm going to go on now and get into the demo of how to find the right shade foundation. But again, before I do, you can do a little bit of research on this before you go into the beauty hall. So you can use a website, for instance, there's one called findation.com, and you can input your current foundations that you're using and the shades, and it will come up with suggestions of shades of other brands of foundation. So if you've picked your coverage and your formula and your brand of foundation that you want to go with, if you go onto there, it will suggest shades for you. So for example, if it's saying that you're a shade 4.5 in the brand that you want, I would go into the beauty hall and I would get a shade 4, a 4.5 and a 5 to test. And that way you can cover all the bases with those. So without further ado, let's get ourselves into the demo. When you're going in to do a foundation match, you're wanting to get a shade that's going to blend in with the majority of you. That way, if you're going out for dinner and you've got a strapless top on, your foundation's not going to be lighter because you've not just matched it up with your neck here, you have actually matched it up to the tops of your shoulders as well. Now for the purposes of today, I'm matching with a stick foundation, and I have 3 shades here, so they're half a shade different between each one. And throughout the year, I am actually each and every one of these shades at some stage. And I felt like it was important to show that because I do usually get a lot of people coming in wanting a foundation that's going to work for them all year round. But you are going to find you're probably at least going to have a winter shade and a summer shade, and this will just highlight that for you. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to match with my lightest shade. And I'm just going to pop that one there. Then I'm going to go in with my next shade there. And then I'm going to go in with my last shade there. Just going to pull over to the side now. Hopefully you can see all right. And I'm just going to start to blend those shades in. And what I'm looking for is a perfect match. You can, if you want to, go a little bit warmer, but what I would suggest is you want to just go a fraction warmer. So there are 2 shades here that I could go with. I can either go with this end shade for my perfect match or the middle shade for my slightly warmer. What I wouldn't want to do is go that shade there because it's just going to be far too dark. I would always err on the side of going to your perfect match, and the reason for that is because then you can go in and you can add your bronzers and your colour, and it's going to then warm that up ever so slightly in turn as well. If you're already going darker and then you're adding bronzer on top, it's just going to start to get darker and darker. So now that I've picked my shade, which was that first shade that I put on, I'm now going to pop that on one half of the face so that you can see how well it blends. So I'm just going to concentrate it onto my cheek because I have a little bit of discoloration there, and also onto my nose just to hide a few of my freckles, and on my chin. Now I've deliberately not put it all over because I want you to see how well it blends in. So now I'll pop it onto the forehead. Like so. You can go over the eye if you want to. So when I'm pulling back, you can see that it matches with the rest of my body. So now I've evened out the skin, I'm just going to add a little touch of colour. So I'm going to pop on a little bit of a blush. And I am doing a series on how to place your blusher and your bronzer. That's coming soon. And that's where you want to pop a little bit of bronzer just here, where we're lighter, to pull everything together. So there we have my video on how to find the perfect foundation match. I really hope that this video was valuable to you and that it's going to give you the confidence that you need to be able to go into the beauty hall and match your own foundation. So I'm going to leave the video there, guys. Please do give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell, and I'll be seeing you again soon. Bye!